This is today's challenge, and I know what you're thinking. It looks like a completely fine garage door. And it is, but it's on the verge of destruction. Let's look above, and I'll show you what's going on. This is what a good garage door spring looks like. You can see that the safety line that I'll refer to later loops around here and runs through the entire length of the spring down to a connection point over there. When they get like this, they're on the verge of going boom. And when these guys break, they make a lot of noise. And they become so much harder to replace. So I'm going to show you the prevention to keep you from having to deal with one of these guys breaking. So let's get to it and fix this guy up. The first thing you need to do is get the right springs. You need 2 of them. And mine are at 90 pounds. How do you know that? Well, you got this little handy dandy chart here, and it goes through the different weights. You don't want to get anything that's too heavy, because it will either work against you or your garage door opener and wear it out. So 90 pounds, that's mine. That's the approximate size of my garage, and it needs 2 springs. You can get this at any big box store. I'll also post down below. How do you know what size springs to get? Well, let's go over to the garage door and figure that out. First thing you need to do if you have an electric garage door opener is pop this, so that you can lift the garage door up and down like that. Then I just took one of our bathroom scales, lifted the garage door up, made sure it was on, put that guy down, zeroed it out, and told me 23 pounds. And you'll get a reading that doesn't tell you it's 90 pounds. And why is that? Because you still have the springs connected above. You want to get an honest weight, you have to disconnect the springs. I've done that before, and I weighed the garage door, and it is indeed 90 pounds. So don't go by this reading if the springs are still connected. It just won't be accurate. And then to help myself and any future homeowners, I put the weight and marker on the door so I wouldn't have to do it again. When I replaced that garage door spring set, that's when I figured out that these doors, at least in my case, are 90 pounds. So here's your system. You don't want to do it when the spring is under tension. You want to do it when it's slack. It's relatively easy that way. You can see it's still kinked here. It's ready to go. You have this safety line that runs through the spring so that if it does blow, it's not going to go anywhere. And that's helpful. And even if the spring does pop, if you can get it in this configuration, I'll show you how you can replace it. Relatively easy. Now I learned the hard way, so you can learn from all my mistakes leading to my success. Okay, so you got this cable that runs through here, you've got the spring, and then you got this pulley system. Trust me, if you disconnect this thing, it's going to go down that way. It's not going to work very well at all. So I've come up with a rig that I'm going to install that will hopefully make this really easy as compared to when I did it the first time. So all you have to do is slide the bolt out, and it will still allow you to slide everything out and put it back with minimal effort. Before I installed this, I wanted to show you what it was. There's different versions of this that you could get. I'll post all this down below. It's one of these, and about 6 feet of paracord. I probably overdid it on the paracord. You just got a little simple overhand knot. You clip this guy into here, and then let's take it over, and I'll show you how to install it on the rig. I'm not going to replace the safety cable. The one I got is perfect. If for some reason the older spring popped and you damage the safety cable, then certainly you'd want to use one of these. But I'll just leverage this for another project. You want something thin that's going to be able to go through these holes, and you want the hole to go up as high as it can right there. Now you've got to get this rig installed. So I'm just going to run the paracord through the pulley system. Then you take it back over here, and this is great because it has an instruction on it. And you run it through here. lean on it a little bit. Come down, pull on it, and then bring it over like that. And you're all locked off. And if you want to, you can be a little extra safe and run a loop through there and then run it back through there. Just block it off a little bit. You don't necessarily need it real tight. You just need it so it keeps the pulley system in place. Hey there, this is me from the future. When I was putting the video together, I noticed there's a couple key points that I wanted to make that may not be so clear in the video. So first thing is, this is a different angle for how you connect this rig I've come up with. I've taken the overhand knot paracord there, and then this device here that I'm going to show in the future frames how you connect it. I have this really long paracord. If for some reason the spring has broken, worst case, you just clip this guy in place like you would if the spring was intact, and you use this extra length, and probably around 10 feet or maybe more, to pull the pulley back to the right position so you can connect your new spring. So once you have the rig in place, the pulley's back, then you release this safety wire. You can see it's slack already, even with the spring fully extended. And then it's just right here, you can kind of see it. It's just through here, up here, through here. When I shot the video, I didn't go into this detail. So I'll jump back into the video where you'll see that the cable is removed. It's pretty easy to do. Give it a little slack here and you pull that cable through this loop and it comes out pretty easy. I've got the new spring and I've got it on one of those cheap utility carabiners, cost under $1. I'm just going to clip it up here so it's at the ready when I need it. This is 14 millimeters on both sides. So I've got 2 wrenches to do the spring. So let's get a close up on this and I'll show you how we deal with that. By the way, when you're working around springs and all sorts of metal stuff, wear safety glasses. Your vision is just really important. And a couple dollar safety glasses will save you a whole bunch of time, misery, and money. I've done a safety glass evaluation. Look for the eye and the details will be there. So we're gonna get in here and take this guy off. And the great thing about this garage door is it provides you a tray in which to put things. You can actually put the spring up here if you wanted. It looks like the bolt comes out on this end, so besides dropping that, I gotta take the bolt out before I can take the spring out. Now, before I came up with this system, see, this was a mess because this one went down that way or I couldn't figure it out. So this little rig that I've come up with really is saving me a lot of time. Now you notice that the spring, this little guy here is pointing in on both sides. That's important. So you want to make sure you do that. Take the old spring out and put in the new one. Goodbye, spring. Hello, new spring. So I've got this guy all set up. You can see that I've got it pointing towards the garage door like the previous one. I took a little figuring out last time. Bolts in, twist this on, finger tight, and then send it home with the wrenches. Where are you guys? You don't want it to come off for sure. Kind of gauge it the way it was when you put it on. That's the hard part. Now you just clip it up here. And look at that. So this is the difference. It's probably worth showing. So here's the difference between the springs. You could see, actually that's a slightly different design of spring. So I'm going to just pull this guy up here and clip him on this right here. By spring. And you might have to lean into it a little bit. That actually is pretty easy. Come on, there you go. This cable through here, and then feed it through the spring. Now, if you're like me and you have two garage doors, or you certainly have the other side you haven't fixed yet, you know how to put the cable up here. I used a pair of pliers to pull on the bottom here and then slide that through to make enough gap. And then you just want it slack enough, not too much, not too little. You can see there's a little play back and forth in the safety cable. And you want the pulley either somewhere between above 45 to vertical in order to make sure this guy's working out with the safety cable on the outside of the garage door opener. Now all I have to do is the other side and my work here is done. Getting in here and using a screwdriver to come in here and leverage this point here is important. It helps get that cable through. And you got to make sure that you don't wrap the safety cable around the pulley system, otherwise you're going to have a really bad day. Your garage door is not going to work and you might do some damage. So very important point. Okay, here we go. Let's see whether or not replacing these guys actually worked. Fingers crossed. The smooth sound of success. Now let's go back up. Sometimes it's the simple things that make me happy. Thumbs up and comments, always appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in home repairs, getting rid of really bad springs, designs of all kinds, making and breaking things. I even do costumes, cosplay, and props. Check out my channel and please subscribe because you never know what you're gonna see.